Well, we have another animated MCU project on our hands, and this time it actually does take place in the MCU. This is the MCU's next anthology show after What If. Eyes of Wakanda focuses on Wakandan warriors, the War Dogs, as different characters carry out missions in order to find various artifacts throughout history. Each episode focuses on different characters in a different time. It's an anthology show that is basically a prequel to the Black Panther movies, and with Wakanda's vast history within the MCU, it only makes sense to make this show an anthology. Now let's get this out of the way first. I did not like What If all that much, especially seasons 2 and 3. I felt like they wasted the concept, and each season finale was a huge problem as they ended up tossing the anthology thing out the window. So what did I, Aaron, for some reason still working on Battle of the Mascots Part 2 Turner, think of Eyes of Wakanda? It's fine. This is certainly not a bad series, but one that I didn't have a lot of feelings towards. First, I will say that from a visual standpoint, this is way better than What If. My main problem with the visuals of What If was that I didn't like the look of the character models. They're just too glossy looking. Eyes of Wakanda doesn't have that problem though, and the show in general is gorgeous. Now, with an anthology series, there's going to be episodes that are better than others. For me, I ended up enjoying episodes 1 and 3 more than 2 and 4. I like the idea of the first episode, Into the Lion's Den, having a rogue Wakandan use their technology to start his own kingdom. I like the pirate theme too. Of course, episode 3, Lost and Found, was the episode people were looking forward to the most because, well, Iron Fist. While this episode was a bit kiddie goofy, the action more than made up for it, and I love Jorani as Iron Fist. She is more badass in this one episode than Danny Rand was in the entirety of the actual suck-ass Iron Fist show. So yeah, thanks Marvel for finally giving us a cool Iron Fist. The action and fight scenes in general are superb, even in the episodes I didn't really like. Speaking of which, episode 2 and 4 were definitely my least favorite for different reasons. Episode 2, Legends and Lies, was just kinda boring. Although I will say the voice actors did a good job, especially in that end fight, but I just didn't care much for this episode. Then you have the last episode, The Last Panther, which is a time travel story. Now, like I said, I didn't like any of the season finales in What If, because they always try to tie all the episodes and characters together, which they don't need to do. The Last Panther thankfully doesn't really do this. Now, they do refer to all of the artifacts that we saw throughout the series, but it's not nearly as tied together as What If did with their finales, so I do appreciate that. However, I wasn't a big fan of this episode because it's a pretty typical time travel scenario. The world is being destroyed by these alien-looking creatures, and the Black Panther from the future arrives in 1896 to warn two war dogs to put back the artifact that they found in order to prevent it. I feel like this episode could have tried taking the whole preventing a terrible future concept in a more unique direction. It's not all bad, mind you. I did think it was clever how Tafari kept on saying he wants to make his mark on history, and then does so by quite literally saving history, although at the cost of no one knowing what he did. Also, this is just a small thing, but the Watcher has a cameo at the beginning of episode 4, and I have no idea why. He doesn't say anything, and it's so fucking quick that it's a blink and you'll miss it moment. Now, it's true that he had a similar cameo in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but that cameo actually made sense, as that was a different universe, and that show was basically one giant what-if episode. Eyes of Wakanda doesn't have anything to do with the multiverse, and the cameo is so quick that I wonder why they even bother. But there's really not much else I have to say about this series. It's a perfectly fine anthology show, and even though I thought some of the What If episodes were a lot better, I will give Eyes of Wakanda this. At least it's much more consistent than What If. I'm gonna give Eyes of Wakanda a 6 out of 10. I have no idea why this is only 4 episodes long, or if they plan on making more episodes. I feel like it would be cool to have a second season that focuses on different themes. What I mean is, this season focuses on the war dogs and Wakandan artifacts, so maybe each season afterwards can focus on different warriors going on different kinds of missions throughout history. That could make for a really great anthology show. I did read a comment saying how Marvel can make different mini anthology series about different locations in the MCU throughout history, like Eyes of Asgard for example, and I think that's a great idea for an anthology as well, so I think either of these ideas could be fantastic.
Say that again?
Ah, damn it, I really should stop saying that word. My apologies for this review being brief, but this release kinda came at a bad time for me. I'm currently trying to put more time into Battle of the Mascots Part 2, and this show suddenly deciding to move from August 27th to August 1st didn't really help matters. I imagine it didn't help others either, because I've read several comments from people who didn't even realize that the show had already released all of its episodes. So I guess the only other thing I have to say is, damn, that new Spider-Man suit looks delicious!